The information expressed in the following podcast is intended for educational purposes only and was created by and belongs solely to Believe Limited and the Flow podcast and does not necessarily reflect the views of our sponsors. Please speak to your healthcare provider before making any medical decisions.
Welcome to Flow. I'm Jessica Richmond here with Sarah Watson, sex therapist, and this month we're going to play a game of MTV, Menstruation on Television, with some very special Game On guests. And we all want to know, how's your flow? We start off Flow with a quick check-in to normalize the reality of menstruation. And today, we're going to do so with brilliant individuals from the Bloodstream team that have been flowing behind the scenes here at Flow. Jade, our digital and social media manager, and Leslie, our director of marketing. Hello, and how's your flow?
Hey, folks. I had to check my period tracker and do a little research. Apparently, I'm on cycle day 17.
Ooh.
So I think that's like ovulation phase-ish, you know? So we'll see how my husband does with that. We'll just keep it like that.
Yes. That's great. Wait, and quick follow-up. How many days are your cycle, usually?
I would say, it's funny because prior to baby numero uno, I would say maybe 6 to 7 days, still a heavy flow. And then post baby, I would say about 5 to 6 days, so less days, but still heavy flow. Interesting. So I'm a heavy girly, not extreme, thank goodness. You know, we're here, we're doing it.
Well, cheers. Thanks for sharing. We're always taking a survey, right, of how things are flowing so that we can share more flow know-how. How's your flow?
The flow it's coming. It's coming in a couple days. I can feel it. Also, first couple days, I'm a heavy girly. And then lasts about 5-6 days for my flow. So not quite yet, but it's coming.
And can I ask follow-up, what is a key sign of impending arrival?
Impending? Sleepy time, Leslie. Sleepy, nappy, snacky.
Get sleepy time, Leslie, some sleepy time tea. Yes. Okay, lovely. And Sarah, how's your flow?
I'm luteal.
Ooh.
Very. I had a presentation a couple weeks ago and ovulated while I was speaking. So that was a delight. Figured it out.
Could you feel it? You mean you felt the moment?
Oh, not the exact moment, but it was clear it was going to happen. And it happened while I was speaking. So talking about communication and sex. And then here's my ovulation.
Do you get a flow whenever you travel? I always find if I get on a plane, it always pops up every time.
I have heard that from a lot of people, but because I have the IUD, I don't get that. Mm-hmm. But I had been off for a little bit, but then I was like, oh, I'm feeling kind of spicy, feeling like it all makes sense. So yeah.
Wait, listen, you mean out of sequence? Just like getting on, like elevating into the air on a plane or going many nights not at home?
Every time it's like usually a long travel trip, like more than a 3 or 4 hour plane ride. For some reason, flow pops up every time. My first one was when I flew to England for the first time when I was like 14. So that was interesting.
Wait, your very first period?
Yeah.
Oh, so you got in the plane. It was like, hello.
I landed in England to visit my family, and then my body went, today's the day. And that was my first flow.
Your flow wants to vacate too.
Apparently.
Your flow is international.
That's
amazing.
International flow.
International first flow. I mean, I feel like we need a sticker for you.
Yeah, that is a badge of honor.
For sure.
How did it feel to flow in London town?
Lots of confusion. I was like, I'm on vacation. This is not the business. What is happening? Why is my body doing this? Right. But I mean, luckily I have a lot of aunts, so matriarchy came together to help.
Yay! Oh, salute. Yes. That's beautiful.
Peeps with uteruses unite.
Mm-hmm.
We love a uterus village.
For real.
Oh.
Yeah.
Great. How do we do
Mhm.
that? Is that like a theme park where you go and there's just uterus havers? Korean
and
Day
then you get
Smash
Imagine
to,
a
is
like-
uterus theme park, like all
I'm
the
s-
rides.
So in. Or there's just like a
Fallopian tube
nap.
water slide.
Yeah.
the
or
water
there's-
slide, or I was thinking it's like a gush of blood water slide. I am down to experience
Tide pool,
that.
heavy flow tide pool.
Oh, with like
Escape
different
room.
consistency.
You know, we might have to patent this, folks.
All right. Well,
How
I
are you-
am.
How's your flow,
I'm gonna
Jay?
tell. We're gonna take a quick break to talk about this business plan, but I just want to let you all know I'm follicular, and I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling fine about it. Fine enough to host a round of MTV. That's right, Menstruation on television. Right after this quick break.
This ad is brought to you by Von Vendi, Von Willebrand Factor Recombinant.
Hi, my name is Nicole. I didn't always feel empowered to speak up for myself or ask for the care and support I needed. Becoming part of a community and hearing other people's experiences helped to change my perspective. That's why my deciding factor is making my voice heard. To hear my story and access other helpful resources, drop by Von Vendi, that's VONVENDI.com/patient-stories.
We are back. This round of periods and pop culture is brought to you by Celsius. Just kidding. Okay, we
Maybe
know.
one day.
I read a thing of a UK person trying like it was a Canadian person trying an American energy drink and being like, what? Thought it would be fun and like a little bit of a lift because they have some
Nope.
restrictions on caffeine there. And they were like, I don't feel well. This is not okay. I'm drinking this before noon. All right, here we go. We know that menstruation can be extreme. We know it can be stigmatized as something to keep quiet about. And we know it can be misrepresented in media, or until very recently, it was mostly left out altogether.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
I mean, yes, Carrie may have led the way with this as the sole example of the typical teenage experience, which can include bullying, and of course the typical teenage experience of telekinetic powers that come to us all when we menstruate. But we are in the post-Pixar's Red world now.
Did the red peony bloom?
Okay, we're going to dive in with this think tank into some examples of menstruation in media, specifically TV, mostly. And our menstruation-full minds, Sarah, Jade, Leslie, here's how we're going to do it. One of y'all will pick a category and then rate each show example I offer based on its authenticity or absurdity when it comes to menstrual reality. We'll dive into it and we'll get the hang of it. Are we ready?
Oh, yes.
Sweet.
Absolutely. I was waiting for Leslie. Sorry.
I know, sorry. Well,
Yeah,
it's not.
No, I'm good. I'm ready.
Listen. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't have to. I wrote lines of affirmation, but it's like very silly.
Do it.
I knew my cue.
I know you were.
That's right. I'm ready. though.
And we're off. The category is
We decide who's going.
Drama.
There you go. There you go.
the selection has been made. Here we go. So under drama, first we're going to discuss Euphoria, season 1, episode 8. The scene is Cassie's pregnancy decision. Now, if you all need to, there will be a link in the show notes. Go ahead and take a quick watch at that scene. In a pivotal episode, Cassie learns she is pregnant and wrestles with what to do next. The scene takes place in a dimly lit bathroom where she stares at a positive pregnancy test, and her emotions are a mix of fear, confusion, resignation. The camera focuses on her face as she contemplates her future, and the weight of the decision is palpable. Later, in the scene we have linked to, the show sensitively portrays her undergoing a triage to get an abortion. It focuses on her emotional state rather than the procedure itself. The scene is powerful for its portrayal of the complexities surrounding teenage pregnancy and abortion. One moment I'll call out is the practitioner genuinely asking, "How do you feel about being here today?" To which Cassie hesitates and very earnestly says, "Nervous, I guess." So, team, we're going to, in the end, rate this based on, does it get an ESV stamp of approval, or is it a no-flow? Now, what that means to you is what our discussion will be about. Did anyone have a strong reaction to this scene when they saw it?
I think from a creative perspective, I liked how there was almost no distractions. Like there wasn't any music. It felt very matter of fact. And it wasn't, because of that, it didn't feel like it was trying to lean you in a certain way, but it helped you really feel her emotion in the scene, especially like you mentioned when she says nervous, I guess she's just so unsure and she's alone. Like she didn't ask her mom to come in or her sister or a friend. She's just, it feels like a lonely journey. And I think a lot of women can experience that during abortion.
Yeah, I really liked her like her facial responses and this idea of like being nervous, I guess, right? Because how many emotions could you have in that moment, which is probably the whole gamut of everything. And just being like, wow, that's really what is going to happen. They're going to ask you questions when you go into that room and the physician's going to be present with you. And yeah, it was kind of sad that she didn't bring anybody back with her.
Yeah, I'd say that moment was pretty interesting because me being a mother, it's like when you become pregnant and you get that pregnancy test, you're teetering between one identity, the one that you are now, versus the one that you could possibly be if you decide to move forward with your pregnancy. And I feel like that, I would say, flowing in between that spectrum of identities can be very complex. To be able to capture that acting, I feel like that scene was very compelling. I think it was very, like Leslie was saying, very matter of fact. And it was very clear that she had a lot going on in her head with regards to like, okay, is this something I'm going to move forward with? I have the choice to do so. And even that, just showing that she does have a choice is very profound as well, because you already know what's going on today.
Right.
Yes. Here's a moment of truth. Stamp of approval or no, Flo?
Stamp.
A stamp of approval. Yeah.
We get the stamp.
Boom.
Boom, boom.
As you mentioned, Jade, seeing that pregnancy test, aren't there some hormonal changes going on right away too, that you're actually feeling different hormonal things based on that reality and your choice of what to do next? Yeah.
Absolutely. It's so odd because you could get confused with like, I might be starting my period. It's so hard to tell the difference in between. So that's why I probably took maybe like 5 tests to really be sure. And then to go to the clinic and get another test from an actual medical professional to really, really be sure. Because some pregnancy tests can be faulty. You have all these different brands. You have all these different stores you can go and get one from. So it's a very like weird state of being in that moment, I would say.
5 tests, 5 in a row? You're like,
not in a row, actually spread out, because I was expecting for my flow to begin. So I'm like, okay, let me take a test. Okay, I'm not seeing a line here. Maybe my period will come soon, following week. Okay, it's not here. It's probably about like 3 weeks late. Maybe I should take a couple of more. So take them maybe like a day apart, like every other day, maybe. And then you finally see like that little tiny faint line there. And you're like, wondering if you're going insane. Yeah, is that real?
Am I imagining this?
Closer, like, And then you finally go to the doctor and they're like, okay, yeah,
we're like,
you're pregnant. You are pregante. Yeah.
Yep.
There it is. Well, and there is possibly comedy or drama in that. And just a reminder, those are 2 of our categories. Our third one being fantasy or musical. What? Here we go. The next category is
comedy.
Hey, thank you very much. Here we go. Oh, great. Comedy. Orange is the New Black. This is a very special episode on Netflix where there's a tampon sandwich. There's a link below, once again, if you want to take a quick look. The scene description is that a newly incarcerated yupster Piper experiences a hazing of sorts when, after being at odds with the kitchen lead, she's served a bloody tampon in a sandwich for lunch. Now, the bloody tampon is shown on in the episode, as is the responses of others at her lunch table. They mostly laugh and jest that she should resolve her issues with the kitchen lead, known as Red. Now, this show isn't afraid to depict period blood, which stands in stark contrast to the norm in many media portrayals. What did we think of the tampon sandwich?
Didn't make me want a sandwich. After. Pause. It's like we see so many shows from like the male's perspective of prisoners, so it's interesting to see hazing for female prisoners and how different it is from men. And I love the line that one of the other female prisoners said. She said, "I'm enjoying menopause very much." I just thought that was really funny. She's like, "I'm not about this right now."
Love.
Snaps to that line.
Loved it. I love Orange is the New Black, and I loved how they depict the actuality of like, how do you handle this in prison? But the hazing of Piper is so good. And the fact that it was actually blood versus blue dye, or just the representation of like, oh my God, right? So the fact that they're like, hey, this is what a tampon looks like when it's been used. I was thank you so much. So good. So good job. Orange is the New Black. Yeah.
Art department points and full responses from Jade.
Honestly, like, she was being served pettiness on a platter.
Yes.
That speechless. Yes. If you happen to be on your period and eating sushi while watching this episode, might not be very appetizing. Might have made you want to take a sec before dipping that California roll in some soy sauce.
Okay.
I agree, though, the depiction of women in jail, I also think of like 60 Days In. It's more of a reality show, and it's showing like real women in jail. And I would say that this Orange is the New Black is quite accurate because they do things like that in actual real life. I mean, I've never been to jail, don't want to go to jail because I don't want to be served a period sandwich.
I mean, that's fair.
Even in high school, you know, women and young girls do stuff like that too. It feels very juvenile.
For sure.
That even ties very well into kind of like the mistreatment of women who menstruate in jail as well. Because a lot of them, like, again, if you all watch like 60 Days In, I believe it's on Netflix, there was an episode where a woman was on her period and it came before she had any access to any products. And the custody officer would not give her a change of clothes. She was just standing in her cell with no pants on, no underwear. She was and she only had a top to cover herself. And she was like that for a couple of days. It was sad. It was very sad.
We even think about like putting menstrual products in school bathrooms. Like, I can't imagine what it's like for women in prison.
Right.
I think I know, but does it get an ESV stamp of approval or is it a no flow?
Stamped.
Stamp.
I give it a stamp.
Cool. Sweet. Next category is
fantasy.
Oh, here we go. Dun dun.
I've been looking forward to this one.
Me too.
And listen, we can talk around some other episodes, but I'm going to have one specific clip that I'm sharing because I think it's so fascinating. And it is from Game of Thrones Season 1, Episode 6. It is Sansa's first period. Now, Sansa Stark awakes from a troubling dream to find blood in her sheets. Her first response is to attempt to hide the blood since it signifies she may now be seen as ready to bear child with the king. In this episode, a first period is referred to as flowering. The scene occurs when Sansa is a young teenager and is facing the pressures of her new role and expectations placed upon her. There's some quotes I'll share before we get into discussion. You can again use the link below to watch the scene. Sansa says, "I thought it would be different." To which the queen says, "Different how?" Sansa says, "I thought it would be less messy." All right, I'll leave it at that. What do we think of Game of Thrones and this one portrayal of first period? Let's get into it.
Love.
That was my first period.
Ooh, say more.
You were hiding it from the king?
No. What king, ma'am? What king? What king?
Yes, I love it. Hide it from the king.
Hide it from the king. No, folks. I, in the middle of the night, thought I was losing my life and saw just blood on all in my bed.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Was terrifying. Was terrifying. But yes, that portion of the scene, absolutely accurate.
For
So
sure.
true. You just wake up terror.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mean you also had a dream about being like hurt and then you woke up to it? You mean like the real seeing it made
Like
you believe that maybe
seeing
something
it.
had?
Yeah. Like seeing it, I'm just like, okay, excuse me, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I agree too. Like, I thought it would be less messy.
Oh, for sure.
It was a lot came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like shocked about that because usually, I mean, I would say what grade? I guess it would depend on like what state you're in, but I want to say around 5th grade they start kind of like mentioning periods a little bit. 100% did not expect it to be like a tidal wave.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah,
no, I loved it. Like
Resonated very much.
Yeah, loved. I mean, I am a Game of Thrones stan. I love it so much. There's so many scenes in there we could talk about. Loved this idea of like, okay, what is happening? Right? I have blacked out. I've said this on the pod before. I blacked out when I first started my period. I don't recall. But what I do recall is being, I was about to get real graphic, but being alarmed when I went to go change a pad and there were clots. Right? Being like, and obviously being an extreme bleeder. Okay, that adds up for me. But alarmed. My mom was never like, by the way, hey, it's gonna
chunks
be
of jello-like things might come out of you as well,
and you're gonna be alarmed, right? No, they're just like, here, right? Like, here's a pad, here's a super tampon, young child. The fudge, like what the hell? But so Sansa, love. It's messy. And you feel like shit, and the hiding of, right? Like this idea, and I still think, and I think it's getting better, but this idea that we have to hide our products, we need to hide our menstruation, we need to hide our ovulation and how we're feeling. No. But we're here to change that, but there's still that culture, right? I'm not going to stick a tampon up my sleeve ever again, right? And I'm definitely not going to teach my daughter to do that either, or whatever she decides to use. So, loved that scene.
Bless. Leslie, we know you got your first period in London town as you landed. So we've had your first period, which maybe was as messy. Was your but in as far as the scene, what do you think?
I thought it was great. I like the connection about women kind of having no control over their bodies. Like there's already a level of fear and a level of like, this is something new that I don't know what's going on. And instead of making it like the woman's perspective of, well, this is a beautiful thing as a woman to do. It's a beautiful thing to serve somebody else or in service of somebody else. So it's not even something that in that experience, she can appreciate that she's becoming a woman for the sake of being a woman. It's something she has to hide, something that's messy, she's afraid of, and it's not even to serve herself as a woman. So I kind of really like that aspect of it's bringing it back to, well, women don't really control their bodies and they have to hide everything and they're not allowed to be themselves.
Hoo. Yeah, we don't like applaud that as like a good thing, but applaud the reality, truth of that is the truth of things happening now. So then I guess a little follow up before we give this scene a stamp. Well, okay, what do we think of this scene? Does it get a stamp of approval or isn't it a flow?
Stamp.
Double stamp.
So the follow up is there any Game of Thrones or House of Dragons scene that does get a no flow for any reason that anyone here has seen?
It's interesting because it's a fantasy. You'd think that would kind of fall by the wayside, but that's actually a very big theme in the show, like womanhood and women not having control, being subservient to a certain group of people or subservient to different rules and regulations they have. So really the show, I think, does a very good job at that representation.
Yeah. The showrunners did a great job. I mean, they continue to do a great job. Whoever's now what we're House of Dragon, right? Like that they continue to show really important things and love that. So nothing immediately comes to mind. I mean, maybe like listeners, if you have something, let us know. We'll get into that, but nothing that comes to mind.
Well, so then we are going to move it on to the next category, which is
Theater, musical, jazz hands.
Thank you, Fosse. All right, so pleased to bring you. I know this is menstruation. I know this is menstruation on and in television, although this movie musical has played on TV several times. We're going to talk about Grease.
Sandy?
Grease is a movie musical featuring high school students on their adventures. In Grease, Rizzo is a character who has a revelation that she skipped a period, and it was groundbreaking for its time. Her concern about a possible pregnancy was also a significant moment, subtly addressing the fears and anxieties surrounding sexual health. Her key line to share with her friends that she's missed a period is that she feels like a defective typewriter. She missed a period. That one took me a while. So in the movie musical, she does eventually get her period. Has anyone seen this musical? Any thoughts on how it slipped into a musical?
I think because it's set in high school, like you're dealing with not slice of life, but you're dealing with people coming of age. So I think naturally a period is always something not always, but most of the time for women, it's something to come of age. So I think it makes sense to kind of the theme of the film.
Groovy.
Sure. Well, I hate to admit this, but I hate musicals.
That's okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
And whenever Grease is on, I turn it off.
I assume that means you haven't seen Grease 2, which we might get to as our bonus round. But
Yep, it's true. I hate musicals. I hate them, but I know the reference. I mean, gosh, high school. Whoosh. I could go off on a tangent about that. And I was just thinking about all of these other shows that I watched that were based on high schoolers. I don't remember them talking
that never
about...
had periods.
No.
Like Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell. Dawson's Creek.
That's a good one.
I really am like racking my brain. And my sister just did a rewatch of the whole thing in the last couple years. I'm going to ask her.
Ask her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also listeners, what other shows about high school have you seen that do address and also that don't? I mean, Gossip Girl. Did Gossip Girl ever address it? That was a more modern one, right?
I think so.
Buffy?
All right, I get it. You're evil.
Buffy! There's so much blood in Buffy!
I love a good Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh, classic. For the vamp girlies out there.
Yes.
Classic.
The vamp, just checking.
She's adding to her watch list right now.
Okay.
Rewatch all of Buffy. Like, amazing.
All right. So really quick, we're grounding out with Grease. Jade, what do you think?
I would say, I think it's interesting because, like, of course, like, if we can skip a period, it's like, ooh, am I better than anyone else? Yes. And it ends up coming. It makes education about periods like uber important, like considering the time frame too, when it's depicted, because obviously I'm sure at that time it's taboo to be talking about your period. Like you only talk about it in closed doors, like with your with your girlfriends on the side type of thing, like literally whispering in ears. But I think the satisfaction that you get out of skipping a period and then it comes later and then it's like disappointing. It's like, okay, you don't know that like your period is not going to come on the same day every month. Like sometimes it's going to be irregular based off of your environment, any activities that you're doing. If you're, like in sports and things like that, like it might throw off your cadence a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I feel like in high school, you don't really know that. I feel like that's not really taught and that's not really clear. So for you to be like, ooh, am I better than everyone if you skip a period? I think it just lends to like, there's a need for more education on just flows in general. Every flow is different. Mm-hmm. It comes at different times. Like if you're an athlete, sometimes it'll be reduced. Sometimes if you're stressed out, cramming for school, it's going to come a lot faster and heavier. Like I feel like that's the real of it. And I think it's kind of like a silent call out, like for the need for the education around it without being so out there about it, considering the time frame and how taboo it was to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And interesting, eventually she gets it, and then but right away when she just doesn't know, she's just skipped one, her friend is immediately like, watch out, there's a pregnant lady. Like the immediate assumption, as opposed to just maybe it's late. The immediate allocation of, interesting.
And then there's an immediate invasion of your privacy. Like, who you been doing it with? Who you been hanging around with lately? You know?
None of your business. Yeah.
And women will do it too. It's wild.
For
Yep,
sure.
hazing comes back again.
Yes.
Yep.
In such a different way. Oh, that's so true.
Same team.
Yeah.
Same team. Yeah. No obligation to share sexual realities, although there can be invited spaces for it to be discussed. I mean, so I guess in this we're still stamping if we feel like it's accurate versus if it's an inaccurate depiction, because that's what's new in our media landscape. So how does Grease add up for y'all?
I give it a stamp.
I give it a half stamp just because it's a musical. So it's hard to take it seriously when everyone's like singing and dancing. So it gets an E from me.
Leslie, are you on my side of you're not a lover of musicals?
I like very, very few musicals, and I don't like talk singing, if that makes sense. Where it's like
100%.
it just feels overwhelming to my ears.
Agreed.
Just calm down. It's not that deep.
Calm down. That is so true. You need to calm down, like Taylor says. Like, stop it. Sorry, I know Jay Rich.
I'm going to win you all over with Flo the Musical, which I am going to start writing.
The Flowsicle.
The Flowsicle. Watch out, Broadway. Okay. Well, then, since we're a half and half crowd. Wait, Sarah, did you give it a stamp?
I'm going half with Leslie. I'm going half.
A half of the, right.
We're half. I'm half C.
Combined a full stamp or both just the E?
No, just the E.
It's like the E is like half the V.
E and half a V, so E and a slash.
E plus.
Well, any musical fans, go ahead and check one more link for Grease 2 Reproduction, a lovely and interesting song. Let us know if you think it gets a full stamp of approval. But we have just a little time left for a few more episodes. We need one more selection of a category.
Comedy.
Great. Comedy. Everyone, don't know if we've discussed it on this show, but we certainly are thrilled to discuss now Big Mouth. It's on Netflix, and when Jessie, a character in the show, gets her first period, a giant tampon sings a beautiful song called Everybody Bleeds. It's linked to in the show notes. Take a look.
And the flow, and the menstrual flow begins.
But our short description for you is that this show as a whole tackles puberty with animated humor and honesty. Jessie again gets her first period. She's on a class trip and wearing white shorts, which we reckon is just about every menstruator has had a nightmare about that. The episode's humor is amplified with a giant singing tampon, emphasizing the show's bold approach to discussing topics often considered taboo. What do we think?
I was singing the song for days after watching the clip. So musical no-go, but that song for whatever reason is super catchy. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
I did like how the lyrics were weirdly scientific, which I thought was cool. It was very blunt. I think it was like when the ovum first descends and is expelled in the uterine lining. I'm like, okay, like,
yeah, love.
It slaps. I also liked how they chose to make the tampon more masculine looking. It almost made it feel more okay and like more open to talking about periods, I guess.
Whoa, interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Because it's an equalizer?
Yeah, like versus it just coming from a woman, it's like a masculine looking tampon.
Also, like I think a tampon has some mask energy, takes care of some business when it's working right. And also just like penetrates if you don't, you know what I mean? Like,
very phallic, yeah. I can see that.
Very phallic. It's very phallic. Like think about that compared to the Diva Cup, right? Like
A
phallic.
chalice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A chalice.
A chalice.
Yeah.
Just daintily carrying your flow.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
just like, here we go.
It's not as
Versus, like,
aggressive.
let me shove something in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Just
Like a
suck it
bas-
all up.
Yeah.
I feel like tampons are kind of buff too.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
I feel like, I mean, if you are a super, super plus girly,
Ooh.
your tampon is ripped.
I mean, yeah, 100%. But if you are a super,
ready to
super
perform.
plus, but it's going to take all that real, like, you're ready to go because you probably have to have a backup in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. I wish
Ooh,
tampons
super
did
plus
sing.
with a pad.
Like a singing card, like as you
time
put it
you
in, it
open
sings.
it.
100%. But it knew what I wanted to hear, right? Because
I
I'm
just
going to
think,
be
like-
moody AF when I'm bleeding. So if it was just like here, okay, for me, and when I in my teenagers, it would have been like Sarah McLachlan or a little Tori Amos, like a little Fiona Apple. I mean, I was all in my feels with all of the ladies of Lilith. So that would have changed my life. Would have been amazing.
I just like the idea that it breaks and it keeps singing, like as it's inside.
Yeah.
You're just like a walking boombox.
Oh, that would be amazing. Like, where's
We
it coming
probably-
from? My vulve. It's cool.
We must have the technology. I'm sure they're going to have an AI tampon soon enough that'll read your mind for what song you need to help your cramps.
Yeah, mood tampon. And it plays the music you like.
Depending on what mood you're in, like a mood ring.
Yes.
I like it.
This is such good content. No, I'm not even. I was like, this is going to be such a good clip.
An AI tampon that will let you know when it's about to overflow.
I mean, can we just get that in the headline somewhere that we're like, we're
Yes.
discussing that and someone will be like, what?
Yeah,
I think this is a moneymaker right now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
AI tampon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I like it.
Folks, any inventors out there, if you decide to make this, we said it here first.
Word.
Give the Flow
Get it done.
podcast.
Just don't
our
put grease
flowers.
because Sarah's not going to use it.
Listen, if it's a musical, I'm out. Like, I will not promote.
Oh,
Wait,
wait, so
banned from the playlist.
Yes. I mean,
'Cause
I
what if
guess
it's
if you're a theater kid, you might want it, right? Like, Jay's like, what?
Well, now
I'm just
now
thinking more,
out.
it's like, what if this AI is kind of like, in Ghostbusters where it's like you just think it and so it starts to play it, whether or not it's what you want. So like you would,
Yeah.
it's like, oh no, I've been rickrolled by my tampon. What am I saying?
I've been rickrolled by my tampon is the best thing we've ever said on this.
Iconic moment.
We need to animate this
Okay.
whole clip, please.
Yes.
I mean,
So
or we could just
juicy.
use Edgar the Giant Tampon.
That too.
Is somebody gonna match my freak?
Oh, he is kind of, you know what? Edgar the Giant Tampon, also known as Edgar the Ghost, is
Same season.
very
Okay,
similar to the Big Mouth tampon. Yeah.
'Cause everybody bleeds.
Singing tampon.
Insert
Well-
clip
Yes.
of Jess twerking next to Edgar the Tampon.
Well, then I want to ask, since we are in the game, if the stamp of approval is there, even though it's a song. Does everyone feel like they,
I can get in it. I'll stamp it.
It gets a stamp. The song is still stuck in my head, so it did its job.
Yeah.
Stamp. It slaps. It's a bop.
It's a bop.
Beautiful. Well, we have time for one more. And I hope someone picks the right category because it's only in one of the categories.
Drama.
Great. Well, I'm pleased to talk to you all about The Handmaid's Tale. This is a wonderful documentary that's available on Hulu. Season 5, episode 7, features Serena's birth complications.
I ask for justice.
In a later season, Serena Joy faces severe complications during childbirth. The scene is set in a dark barn. As the tension builds, we witness intimately Serena experiencing intense pain and fear. The camera stays close on her face, capturing every grimace and tear. June acts as midwife in the barn. While she struggles to manage the situation, she does successfully support Serena through delivery. The scene emphasizes the physical and emotional toll of childbirth amidst a dystopian world where women's bodies are controlled and exploited. So once again, what does everyone think of this documentary?
I loved the support that June showed her. Like, it just was really intimate. She was talking calmly, giving her affirmations, holding her. Like, they're just, I don't know. It's just nice to see women helping women in like their toughest moments. And then, you know, visually, like the light peeking through this dark barn at the end is like, there's just some level of hope for both those characters.
I really like the idea of like really catching all of the emotion of what happens to someone giving birth, because it can go all over the place, and the extreme amount of pain and how that impacts your body and what's happening and the support that you really do need. And I will never, I mean, I couldn't tell you their names, but the women that were supporting me during giving birth in a hospital by my choice, right? Like, oh my God, they are angels from heaven. And the nurses need, or midwives or whomever, doulas, everyone. Like, there is nothing like it to have that. Like, it's like a cocoon of love right around you. And then there's my guy who's just like holding the leg too, going, what is happening? Right. But this idea of like all of the emotions and like to really catch that, I think is really amazing.
Yeah, I love a good anime reference. I feel like when it comes to like giving birth and like what Sarah was saying, like you have like your little cocoon of love. Like I love Sailor Moon, and anything that Sailor Moon was going through, like her girls was around her. They was with her like to the end. They were like giving her like their power, supporting her. And then like you have Sailor Moon with you got her man, Tuxedo Mask. He's like there. He's like there, just hey, I'm here. And I have direct experience with just like labor and very intense like back labor. And they were trying to put the IV in my hand. I already don't like being stuck with needles, but they were trying to put the IV in my hand. And for some reason, every time they tried to do it, it was like mid contraction. And when you're in pain, your veins roll away. So it's like a repetitive thing. And for some reason, I decided to apologize for that.
Oh,
And I was just like, I'm so sorry. I felt like I was making it difficult for the nurses to do their job. And they were like, absolutely not. Do not apologize for that. Like, it's okay. We'll try to put it into a different location. We're going to try to give you some relief so we can find a vein and make sure it doesn't roll away and things like that. So I feel like when you are in labor, your brain, I feel like it's almost like astral projection. I feel like you're not there, but you're there.
No. Yes. 100%.
Right? So
Yes.
it's good to have that support of like people that are conscious and that are present to tell you like, no, you're doing a good job. Like you're totally fine. Like you and your baby are okay. And everything like that. So like that moment specifically in that scene for Handmaid's Tale, I think was very profound. Just like what Leslie was saying, just like women supporting women. And you don't see a lot of that in the show itself.
Right.
If you're watching it from beginning to end, it's just all about like ownership of the handmaids. Even like the women of the houses that they're in, they're like just like treating them like crap, like slaves. So being able to enjoy that moment cinematically was very satisfying for me.
Yeah, and for context, those two characters didn't like each other. And June, the midwife, she gave birth alone in the series. So for her to, you know, give up that that barrier of the issues that those two characters had and help her, because she's like, I did this alone. I don't want you to be alone. It's really a powerful moment in the show.
Yeah.
Heard. And yes, June, who acts as midwife, as we know, midwifery, which is the traditional, you know, growth of how to handle the natural part of birth, was squashed by patriarchal medical powers. And there's a lot of great documentaries we could link to. And a great documentary coming out this year is called Deliver Us, made by Believe Limited. I'd love to include the link to that as well. It's all about the battle of midwives and doulas, specifically Black midwives in America, to keep the care alive under some dire circumstances. So support that doc. Check that out. Real quick, for The Handmaid's Tale, how do we feel? Stamp of approval? No flow.
Stamp like 5 times. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh, we have a very approved media landscape by our Flow team today. There are some examples we could have brought up from the past. For example, Superbad, which may have gotten a no flow, not because, it did show period blood, but what it propagated wasn't menstrual realities so much as menstrual shame. That would be an example of it. I share that because hopefully we'll play this game again. Listeners, if you're interested, send us some examples. Let us know if you want to play. And that's it for now. We'll be back next month. Check out our program notes for how to get in touch with all of us, and we'll see you next time on Flow.
It was so fun. No, I think we killed it.
It was fun.
Okay. Sweet.
Boom.
Crushed.
Did that thing.
Did that thing. Seriously. Oh, stop it.
Flow is produced by Bloodstream Media. Big shout out to our creative director, Amy Board, and our editor, Kay Vermeil. New episodes of Flow will be available the second Thursday of every month.
Hey, that's the day after I start menstruating.
And thanks to our sponsor, Takeda, for their support of Flow.